Hello everyone, I, Assistant Professor Abhigna Vaishnav, once again welcome you all to the video lecture series for the subject Service Marketing for Semester 9 LJ Integrated MBA. Well, to continue with our previous discussion, we are in Module 3, the chapter Capacity and Demand Management. Well, the last point that we were discussing about managing the demand along with the managing the capacity. How demand can be managed to balance with your capacity. Well, either you have nothing to offer for the customers, you do nothing about that. You can have options, as in you can inventory the demand through your queuing and waiting line approach through reservation systems. So multiple options you are having it. Now, along with that, you can use your marketing mix elements, 4 P's that we have. You can either mix and match your product elements to manage your demand and capacity. You can have either changes in pricing to manage your peak demand and your off-peak demand. You can either manage your place and time decisions so as to manage the traffic in the overall demand pattern. You can either do alteration in your promotions so that to educate customers whether to go for the peak hours or the off-peak hours. So marketing mix helps in managing the demand. Well, now to inventorying the demand through waiting line system is our next point to be discussed. Now, waiting is something no one likes to wait. On an average, a person waits for 30 minutes a day. That makes it a week for the entire year. Now, waiting can be very boring at times. It takes time. It is very time consuming, and at times it is physically undesirable. Now, why waiting happens? Reasons behind that can be poor management of demand and capacity, but obviously along with that, it is possible that the demand and the supply that does not match. That can be the reasons. Other reason could be the geographical dispersed queuing system. That can be the reasons. And on the virtual platform, if you are not able to manage the traffic, the waiting line can happen. Now, how to manage these waiting lines? You have to redesign your entire service transactions. You can either tailor-made for the different segments. Each segment would be treated differently. That is also possible. You can install reservation systems. You have to manage the perceptions of the customers as well as waiting line as goes. Or you have to redesign the entire transactions so as to shorten the time duration. Now, as far as queuing systems that is available to each segment is concerned, you can bifurcate each segment on the basis of urgency that is required. Some people are in need of transactions in a hurry, so treat them first. That is possible. You can even do it by the duration of the service that has been provided. That can be an option. You can either offer them on the basis of the payment. The premium price category can be served first. That is also possible. And you can even go with the importance of the customers. Now, the customer who buys frequently from you and a person who is always into high volume category customers, you can serve him first as well. This is how you can tailor-made the segment-wise queuing system. Now, how to manage the customer's perceptions of waiting line? Now, the same time period, the same waiting time period can be longer or a shorter for the same customers if it is managed properly, if the perception is managed properly. Now, if the waiting time is well explained one, if the customer is aware about the logic behind the waiting time, and if it is made pleasurable for the customers, he would not prefer it as a longer waiting time. He would rather be okay with it. So it's up to us to manage the perceptions of waiting time because it is unavoidable. You have to manage the perception. Now, inventorying demand through reservation systems. Well, benefits of reservations, if we talk about it, basically it saves time. It helps you to not to wait for the transactions to get over. It also helps to the company how to manage the demand. It also helps company in identifying the pattern of demand, and actually you are pre-selling to the customers. So it makes him understand, it can be used to make him understand about the service encounter that he is going to face in future. So that also helps. Now, if you see the characteristics of reservation systems, it is usually fast and very user-friendly. It can resolve your queries very fast. It offers you the self-service concept that is also possible in reservations. It accommodates preferences. Now, it may so happen that if your first choice preference is not available, the alternatives offered to you can be your second choice, but you can at least have an exposure to that as well. That is possible through reservation system. Now, reservation system should follow the yield management. Now, by following yield management, you are able to identify the opportunity cost. By offering one service ahead of the other service, that gives you an idea of the opportunity cost that you have foregone. Now, for that, you require information regarding the past data that is available, the current accurate information that prevails, and the future estimates that can be used for yield management. Now, the overbooking customers have to be compensated because of yield management. That you can be able to figure it out. They need to be compensated for overbooking. Now, how to manage the capacity that is in excess with you? You have to use the capacity. You can use the capacity in your differentiating service from that of competitors. You can reward your customers. You can reward your channel members. You can either reward your employees as well. You have to use your unused capacity so as to make your service offering desirable to the customers. Now, at the last, to manage capacity and demand, what are the factors or the points that the firm need to consider? First point is historical data, then fixed and variable cost, the demand estimations, then goes location by location, the demand pattern that is there, the customer's opinions about the service offering, segment by segment data that is available, and customers' expectations about the entire service offering that you have to consider while designing your capacity and demand management. So, as far as this chapter, so as the module goes, that's about it. And thank you very much. Keep learning.